duplicate the other. That's irrelevant. It's a complete non sequitur. Just because I've thrown pots and pans does not mean that you come and knock on the door. Just because there are vases does not mean that you come and knock on the door.
Realize you just let you throw.
I'm not saying that. You're saying that. You're putting words in my mouth and then making non sequiturs.
Giving you a situation.
No, you're trying to justify how you don't or do come to the door based on whether I throw pots and pans. It's irrelevant.
I'm justifying how you seem to think that there's this cowardice in me that runs away and I don't fight for you.
And you're justifying that by saying I throw pots and pans? Okay, cool. Let's talk about everything you do wrong.
I'm not the one who... I said to Travis, I said to you, hey, tell Travis what just happened.
Oh, you told me to do it. You told me to. You said, go do that.
I said, no, tell him what just happened.
And I lied.
And then you punched me in the
You're right.
fucking thing. And
You figured it out.
And you said, no, fucking lie, dude. What the fuck are you talking about? And I watched you lie. And then
I didn't punch you, by the way. I'm sorry that I didn't hit you across the face in a proper slap, but I was hitting you. I was not punching you. Babe, you're not punched.
Don't tell me what it feels like to be punched.
You know, even a lot of fights have been around a long time. I know. Yeah.
No, we fucking have a close.
You didn't get punched. You got hit. I'm sorry I hit you like this, but I did not punch you. I did not fucking deck you. I fucking was hitting you. I don't know what the motion of my actual hand was, but you're fine. I did not hurt you. I did not punch you. I was hitting you. What am I supposed to do? Do this? I'm not sitting here bitching about it, am I? You are. That's the difference between me and you. You're a fucking baby. You are such a baby. Grow the fuck up, Johnny.
Physical fights?
I did start a physical fight.
You did, so I had
Because,
to get the fuck out of it.
yes, you did. So you did the right thing, the big thing. You know what? You are admirable.
Candy?
You already know if I'm going to take it?
Wouldn't be much of an oracle if I didn't.
But if you already know, how can I make a choice?
Because you didn't come here to make the choice. You've already made it. You're here to try to understand why you made it.
Welcome, my friends. My name's Antoine Phoenix, and this is my RP experience. Peace and love to all my brothers and sisters out there. Thank you for hitting the like button, subscribing, sharing, commenting, and turn on all notifications so you know when I have a whole new video up. Today's video is a video I really wanted to do. I did put a short snippet on TikTok, but to get a little bit more in depth, I wanted to ask that question of, does your past matter? And can people change? I'm not sure which title I'm going to use or if I'm going to use both of those particular phrases. Because I do believe people can change. And I do believe people should, well, not necessarily should, but could be given a second chance. It all depends on what they have done. So I have some people examples to prove my point right here. And I usually do not like extremes. So I will not say that everybody, just because they did a certain thing, I'm trying to think, okay, a person shoplifted before when they was a kid or teenager, even if they shoplifted last week out of a form of desperation or because they really wanted something. Should that make you look at them as a person of, I can't trust them because they have stolen in their life? Now it's up to you if you feel that way, especially if they have stolen from you. It's okay to not to be paranoid of what the person may do the next time you see them. However, I do think that if the person did that and they did not repeat the same pattern, or they made steps to show that they have learned their lesson, that they should be given, once again, I'm not saying they should, okay, but to be fair, because we're all human and we all make mistakes, maybe you should forgive them. So, I have my first example on here because we're going to be using people on this list. And I'm pretty sure every one of you should know these people. One of them you may not know right away, but I'm pretty sure you know what she did. We have Jeffrey Epstein, Puffy Combs, Jada Pinkett Smith, Amber Heard, and Lily Phillips. Now, each one of these people is known for something that they did in their past. And if you was to date them, would you be able to let it go? Or think that it won't happen to you? Oddly enough, I noticed that a woman will date a man like this. Not every woman, but there are women that will still date this man because of his money. He's a billionaire. His power. It doesn't matter what he was accused of or the fact that he was in prison. What proves this is even after, what's his name? Oh my God, I cannot think of his name right now. A guy that was listed as a serial killer. Women still lusted after him. He has tattoos on his face. I do not know the guy's name, but I did a video. Yes, Wade Wilson. You gotta see this video. And I'm not saying every single woman was getting wet in the panties for this dude, but it was enough online with them reacting to him walking out with a certain type of music playing. I'm not even going to try to track down that clip because the music is copyrighted anyway. There was plenty of women that was gushing over him. I remember a guy that was a criminal in a black guy, or he was mixed, and he had a mugshot, and there was lots of women saying how attractive he was. And not to say that you can't find somebody attractive that did something heinous, but to totally ignore what they did and still lust after them and still say that you want them, that tells me that there are lots of messed up people in this world. Anyway, let's really get into this video now. First up, I'm going to go with him because he's the one in the news right now that everybody knows. Sean Puffy Combs. Now, when I was younger, in the 90s, I always heard of things that he was into or might have been behind. He always came off in his interviews as a nice, charismatic, charming guy. And that's the thing that I noticed with people that are toxic or not good people. They know how to put a good show on in front of people when all eyes are on them. But when they don't think people are looking, or they are around people that either they confide in, or in his case, his parties that you had to sign an NDA, you will see the true colors of him crashing out, being an asshole, terrorizing people. Okay? You don't get to see this in his interviews much. You might see a look though. So, I bring this up. Does his past matter? With you people that saying the past doesn't matter when people do things, especially to other people. I'm going to get into it later when a person is self-destructive to themselves and they do certain things. Okay. And they're trying to be better, such as people that have drug problems or they drink. But I'll get into that later. In his case, could you forgive him? Now, I know people of the black community because he's one of the only known black people that we know that is a millionaire, and he's done a lot in his life. And I'm pretty sure everything that he's did has not always been bad. I'm pretty sure he has been good to people. He has been good to women. I'm not going to track it down, but I've came across some videos of a woman. Well, it was only one that I saw, but I'm pretty sure she's not the only one that was defending him. Okay. I can only assume that she knows a different side of him that maybe we've seen in interviews, but a lot of people don't see. Okay. And maybe he was not toxic to her. Because sometimes when you know people in the neighborhood that's wilding out, robbing people, knocking people all over their head, I'm pretty sure there are some people that they are respectful to and nice to. But when you find out this wall of evidence of, and of course these are alleged claims, but I always think when it's a lot of smoke, it has to be some fire. Not everything can be a lie. And of course, some things could be exaggerated a little bit, but it has to be some truth to it. So I think his past does matter. I think men that have done things like him, the past does matter. Could he change in the future after doing some time or therapy? Yes, probably he could. But do you want to be the one that takes the chance? And unfortunately, if he was to somehow beat this rap or to get out of here, it still would be some women, beautiful women, average. It would still be a woman that would still get with him and date him just because his money and status. This is why once I know women have a certain type of guy that they go for, I don't give them no more sympathy no more. Because you're doing it to yourself. Because you keep going for the same type of dude, or you go back to the dude that did you dirty. Similar like in that movie, that video I did on The Last American Virgin. Yes, Gary didn't deserve her because of all the nice things that he was doing. But for her to go back to the man that got her pregnant, dumped her, and then came back, that's not cool. On to the next. Next up is Jada Pinkett Smith. Oh my gosh. I would definitely never want a wife like this. Now, I know a woman that says that she's met Jada Pinkett Smith and says she's a nice person. And I'm pretty sure she is, but similar like the P. Diddy thing. A lot of people have two different personas. They have their public persona that they want to look a certain kind of way, and behind the scenes, you see who they really are. In her case, I can't really say that because she has totally disrespected her husband at the red table, in public. You kind of see how she is in real time, and she don't give a fuck. I mean, she has definitely said that Tupac is her soulmate. Now, I do think maybe in Will and Jada's relationship that they're just together right now, and this is why, in a way, while I don't support how easy it is for a woman to just wake up and leave a relationship, well, a marriage, I don't think also that you should stay with somebody that you are miserable with. Okay, because I do think that dynamic is going on right here with her. But looking at how she treated the the man that she married, okay, and she's always raving about Tupac, and that's another thing. A woman that's always raving about another man, how she wish he was here, and all that other stuff. Do you want to follow that? Could you get past that? Okay. So with her, do you think her past matters? Do you think the way that she treated her husband and how she has moved in the public eye, social media, do you think she would not do that to you? Now, as a friend, how that may not really affect you unless if it's your brother or so that might be dating her. Maybe, I guess, but I would probably caution them against doing that because I would not want a woman with those tails right there. Those are glaring red flags. And that's not even getting into some of the other things that I've heard her say. Next up is Jeffrey Epstein, the man with the Allen that was so supposedly as trafficking. Well, obviously that was going on. And supposedly these was young women that he was doing this with. Was there also young men involved? I don't remember. Now, I know Rotten Mango made a case that the reason why Jeffrey wasn't in the news as much as P. Diddy because he's not a famous person. And that is true. I will admit that is true. But the people that he is connected with, the politicians, movie stars probably, the people that he's connected to, should have still put a huge spotlight on this particular thing. Now, I know they were saying that it was a list, and that list never came out. And I want to see who's on that list, really. But I'm pretty sure maybe some of the same people that's on that list was on the list with P. Diddy. I just think P. Diddy was more of the younger hip hop, urban people that was into this life. And Jeffrey was more for the older people, well, older white people that was in this particular thing. Anyway, he's passed away now. And I'm not going to go into his whole story because it is layered. I know Rotten Mango did a expose video. I think it was at least 2 to 3 hours long on this. I was considering about covering this a bit, and maybe I'll come back to it because I always like to have that equal energy. If I'm going to be talking about black or white people, I'm definitely going to be talking about the other. If I'm going to be talking about women, I will talk about men when I see something that they did wrong. So I'm E for everyone, except for I really came on this platform to be talking about the relationship issues that men have with women. That is really my main focus. But any relationship dynamics, I will definitely cover. So if he was still alive today, do you think his past matters? Yes, maybe he could change because he got caught, busted. Okay. He didn't get that chance because he probably was going to give up the ghost and tell on the people that the other people involved. So they definitely got rid of him. And truthfully, we may never know, just because of the people that may be involved in this, we may never know who was really knee deep into it, besides him being the front man or the organizer. But I definitely think his past matters. And anybody that would come on here saying any of these people that I just say, from P. Diddy to J. Pinkett Smith to Jeffrey Epstein, that their past doesn't matter. This is why I do not like those freaking memes that say your past doesn't matter. Okay? I've seen it with the Robert Downey Jr. thing. Yes, but he was self-destructive. So in his case, it's not like he was terrorizing people or taking advantage of kids. So some things can be more easily forgiven than others. And that is the nuance that we don't pit when we pick this stuff up. And next up is Amber Heard. Now, she somewhat propelled me into doing this type of content. I wish I started before, because I think I would have been bigger if I was doing videos during the pandemic. Because y'all had nothing else to do but watch YouTube. And I was considering it for a while because I had people that influenced me, like Coach Greg Adams. To a degree now, I don't vibe with every single thing that he says. But when he be talking about marriage, kids, family, that type of stuff, yeah. I don't always like his thing of belittling or making fun of women, even if they're not your type, even if they're overweight. I mean, he's not wrong, but I just wouldn't, well, that's just not the route that I would take. Anyway, with Amber Heard and the Johnny Depp thing. And I did some videos on this. Now, Johnny Depp is not a total angel here because he had drug use problems, drinking. Obviously, he would argue with her. But she was the aggressor. And even though that was bad by itself, what was really appalling is the fact that she lied and said that he was abusing her and that she was the innocent victim. And if not for those recordings, she would have got away with it. She would have got away with it. Now, this is a more enhanced example that I did try to make with Jada Pinkett Smith, but this is this example on steroids. This is the power a woman has. If she gets tired of you, she gets mad at you one day, she can just outright lie on you. And if she's a good actress, like she is an actress, she can get away with it and get public opinion on her side. Okay. And this is the thing that I didn't say with the Jada Pinkett Smith thing, is even though she's being toxic, it still will be women defending her. Now, I'm surprised with the Blake Lively thing that the women have kind of leveled out here. It's probably women that is siding with her. They're more silent, but there are more women coming on Blake Lively's neck. It's used as an example that maybe the tide is shifting on how people view things and how they just get behind somebody just because they look like them or because they are the same gender. Now, no lie, Amber Heard runs along my type of woman in looks. Because, I mean, she's not a bad looking woman. But knowing her past like I know her past, and this is why I think women will always usually lie about their past and not say the things that they did because they know this will definitely make it hard for them to trap men in their web or even to get the decent types of men that will maybe give them a chance without giving it somewhat of a twist. But knowing her past, knowing how she was in not just that relationship, so supposedly a woman that she was dating, supposedly she was bruised up. And I can't not going to put that information up on there. Is some other actress, and I cannot think of her name, that Amber Heard, because Amber Heard is bi. So she'll date women too. And for men, I always say be very leery of dating. Well, okay, not dating, but try not to marry a woman that's bi. Because she can always come out years later and say, I found my soulmate in some other woman or something. And then I also feel like you already have enough competing with other men or men that may be better than you or have more money or better looking, blah, blah, blah. And then you have to compete with women as well. No, it wouldn't do. That's my own personal yellow flag. Okay, not really red. Well, it's red if you're marrying, but yellow flag if you're getting involved with them. But getting back to how she is as a person. So she revealed how she could be. And the scariest thing with her is even with the things that she knows that she said and she was accused of and shown to be a liar, she still doubles down and says that she is a victim. And I believe this is a societal problem because men enable women just because they look good with this bad behavior, and women usually support women like this. So knowing how this woman can be, does her past matter? If you marrying her, oh hell yes. If you're just trying to get her in the sack, you're trying to get in and out. And I'm not saying you should do that, but I'm saying for women that's like this is the only way I can see you really dealing with them and not getting damaged with dealing with her. Okay? So, yeah, so be wary of women that's like this, and her past does matter. If she has did this type of stuff, it proves that she could lie on her man, she could make stuff up. I mean, and this is one of my longest answers because I was really passionate about this particular thing because I lived this myself because my ex-wife and I would argue and I would say she would say mean things, I would say mean things. We both could be nasty in the argument. Now, I will say, in her case, she was the one that always pushed it, so therefore, I always would respond. And then she would start hitting me. Okay, she would start, and when she would be telling the story of me not being able to communicate or walk away and that type of stuff, like I would just leave the situation. She would leave that part out, therefore making it look like it was all me and it was also her. So even she did it to a degree. So yeah, women like this, I would just leave alone unless if you can get in and out. And I'm just saying that because I know men is still going to mess with a woman like this because she looks attractive. And I won't lie, if I did not know her story, if I just knew a little bit that she has a temper and can be a little mean or something, I probably still would mess with her. Okay? But peeling back the layers is not worth it. So her past does matter. And the last one is Lily Phillips. She looks sad in this photo. And she is the woman that slept with 100 men either in 24 hours or 14 hours, but it wasn't one day. I'm not even going to touch that woman that did 1,000 men in one day. I don't even see how that's mathematically impossible, unless if you was holding them to under a minute long, because I'm pretty sure you have to take a break in there. Anyway, and I'm pretty sure that woman tried to top her. But I think in her case, and this is why body count generally matters for men, because of how women, if they decided to, could just rack it up. Just rack it up. And I always think that when you have these large body counts, whether you are a man or woman, not all those people are 10s or 9s, really beautiful. Okay? With that much volume, you have to be getting some trash in there. Maybe you have some people that's really old or nasty or doped out. Okay, there's no way that you could get that, especially in a short period of time, and it all be quality. Unless if you are showing receipts. And once again, who really cares if you are getting the best looking people and just going through them like that? Now, for one, I'm in the minority that I think both men and women suffer when you sleep with a bunch of people, especially back to back, especially in a short period of time. For men, I'll just say that I knew some guys that will get women, pick up any women, and then the next day, and no, it wasn't me, okay, the next day, he would be like, damn, I don't believe I did this again. I gotta stop dealing with these types of bras. And what it was, he would settle on the woman that wasn't really his type. Either she was really overweight or she was really trashy. And it would be a woman that he would not generally mess with, but he did because he was horny. And the next day he was like, can't believe I did that. Now, I'm not saying all men feel that type of way. Then there's also the thing of you getting used to dealing with certain types of women. So if you are always dealing with women that are dancers, OF models, if that's the only type of women that you deal with, even if you're sick of dealing with it, that's what you're familiar with. So that's what you will keep going back to deal with. And this is why I say men will do a similar thing like women. They'll say they don't like this type of woman or these women are 304s, but those are the women that you are giving attention to, especially online. And not all guys can separate it as, oh, this is recreational use. This is just women that I'm just sleeping with. Meanwhile, I want to marry this woman over here. I always think you're playing with fire if you do that particular thing, because if you marry that woman that's the good girl, that's not like the women that you are used to running through, you're going to mess up that relationship going back to those women that are what you are used to dealing with. Anyway, in her case, I don't know why she did that particular thing. I saw part of her interview. Lily say she just wanted to share time with her fans or something. I always believe that when women do this particular thing right here, where they're dancing, even OF or something, I always notice that they have certain family dynamics that are missing. And usually they have issues with their dad. I'm not saying that's always the case, but a lot of times that is. And usually they don't like their dad. Or they're always striving for approval from their dad. They have a love-hate relationship with their dad. Now with this woman Lily here, even though she's attractive, even though she's my type physically, it's not because of the blonde hair, because I know her and Amber Heard have a similar type of hair color. It's the bone structure, is I don't know, it's just how they look in general is usually my type. But someone could also embody that, and they could be Asian or they can be Hispanic. Okay, so I'm not hung up on one particular look. It's just that the look may be a little similar. Anyway, does Lily's past matter? And yes, it does, especially if you are going to marry her. I mean, besides the fact that it'll be on the internet forever and it'll be like embarrassing, but let's put that aside. And this is where I say a difference between men and women, because if a man really loves a woman, and sometimes that can be lust, but see, lust will fade, especially after you get the skins. But if a man really loves a woman, he will ignore all outside stimuli of people telling him to leave that woman alone. Similar like Travis Hunter. This is why I do think in a way that when men love, they love more authentically. Because women, it almost seems like it has to be like a perfect storm type of thing. You either have to be bad enough to keep her excited, and then therefore she will ignore all of what other people are saying, or you have to be a guy that doesn't embarrass her and looks perfect, and then she'll pick you. But if anything happens, like you lose a job or you have a rough moment in your life or something, and her surrounding people start chirping, then she'll turn on you. I keep getting off the subject a little bit. Anyway, with Lily right here, while her past does matter, I do have compassion for the individual when most of their actions is self-inflicted, self-destructive. Because she's not really hurting anyone. Now, some people may say that she's hurting society, putting that out there, that she's living that life. Okay, I agree with that. Does that mean she's a bad person? Does that mean she can change? Maybe. But I do think a woman that lives like this doesn't deserve marriage. I mean, I wouldn't marry her. I don't even know if I would date her, only because, as I said, I don't think she has this out of her system. The fact that she does this, she has to be emotionally broken. And I'm tired of trying to save women, because I used to be Captain Saver. okay, that was me, because I always see their sad story and how they are going through stuff and how they regret their actions. And I can tell, at least in that moment, that they are telling me the truth. It's not just the act right there, but whether they are conditioned or addicted to their behavior, they're going to do it again. Like, I don't believe she could be faithful to a guy just because of the fact that how she did what she did. Okay, it's either one or two things. Either she would be totally like not really want to be touched, or she will always want to get touched by somebody else eventually because she'll get bored. Okay, now I do think she regrets her actions. I would say, and only in this case right here, that you don't have to be mean to the woman. You don't have to say how, well, try to degrade her. I mean, some of you going to do it anyway, but she know what she did, and I think on some level she feels bad enough. So I have compassion for the person that she deserves I'm not saying a second chance, but maybe a thing of like, okay, you done fucked up, but maybe someday you can get your life in order and you can heal, because obviously she has to have a lot of emotional damage. And Lily, if you see this video right here, this was not to demean you or pitch you, because I'm pretty sure you heard all of that already. I'm just saying that if you was to ever want a decent guy and he knows this of you, he may still take that chance, but I think you should avoid him. Don't ruin him, okay? Maybe you should get therapy and maybe if you get like help that you need and maybe resolve any family issues that you have, maybe you could have a loving relationship with someone in the future. However, I would caution a man of marrying you, though, just because I don't know if you can be faithful. I don't know if that would be his kids. I don't know, like, when you eventually would get pregnant, I don't know if you would backslide. I believe this kind of behavior right here is similar, like if somebody's on drugs or drinking. They're going to go back to the things that make them feel good once life is not exciting no more, or things get boring, or they get anxiety. So I do think out of all the cases, this is the one case that your past does matter if the person wanted to marry you, but I don't think you should be bashing them and destroying them in public. Personally, I don't think. I know people are going to do that, but personally, I wouldn't do that. That's why, like, people like this, I wouldn't make a bad video of how bad they are. I just would make it as maybe you should marry them, okay? Unless if it's 10, 15 years removed and they have totally stopped doing this particular thing. But otherwise, I would say no. And look, I understand it will be dudes that disagree with me and be like, oh no, the 304s, leave them alone. Look, I'm not telling you to mess with them. I'm just saying that they have things wrong with them emotionally, deep inside, for them to be acting the way that they are acting. And because they are not hurting kids, well, in her case, okay, because I'm pretty sure there's people that are. They're not hurting kids. They're not like robbing guys and drugging them, like Cardi B has said. As far as I know, she's not hurting anyone but herself. And because of that, that's the only reason why I think in that meme with Robert Downey Jr., like, don't judge a man by his past. Okay, let's not get literal with that. Let's not go to extreme. But in his case, yeah, he made a lot of mistakes when he was younger, but he has turned it around, and and he is doing very well for himself. And it wasn't overnight either. He had to fight his way back in, even though I do think it's still a difference of how certain nationalities are treated when they mess up, but that's pretty much it. So, oh yeah, let me get back on screen. Okay, I consider on making this a shorter video, like maybe 15-20 minutes, but I wanted to show examples of how I think your past does matter if you're doing certain things. And I am less forgiving, me personally, I'm less forgiving if a person is doing things toward other people, especially kids, people that can't defend themselves. When it's self-destructive, like that woman that I showed, and I'm pretty sure she won't look at her behavior as self-destructive, but the thing is, though, sometimes what a person can be doing was drug use or drinking. People can look at them and be like, hey, I don't want no parts of that. And you have a right to feel that way. Now, could that person change and get off the wagon or stop 304ing? Yes, that could happen. But that doesn't mean that you have to ignore the fact that they did those certain things, and especially if, like in that woman's case, like if she ever wants to marry a dude, I wouldn't do it because it's just a bad precedence that she's going to hurt you in the end, definitely, even if it's unintentional. So in that way, her past does matter. But does her past matter that she can't be a good person, that you and her can't be friends, that type of thing? That's a totally different conversation. But I'm pretty sure if I was to meet that woman, she probably would be down to earth. Some of the most nicest down to earth women that I've met have either been 304s or dancers. I would say Instagram models, but sometimes they can get a little big in the head. And I think probably because they know that they did things that they feel ashamed of, in some kind of way that humbles them to a degree. Now, at the same time, I could not take them seriously because I would feel like they would hurt me. Okay. But as far as either talking to them or either having them somewhat in my life that's not affecting me in a negative way, I don't think that's a bad thing. And lastly, to throw myself under the bus, I know I've done things in my past, not on the level of most of these people, but I know, like with my ex-wife, I got her into some legal trouble because I was feeling desperate and I did something, and then something else happened that I shouldn't have gave it to her because I knew she wasn't going to follow instructions and not do what I told her not to do. But either way, I shouldn't have gave it to her, and then she ended up getting in trouble for something. Now, of course, though, I admitted to it. I didn't dodge it. And I know she was mad at me for a very long time, but I'll say, and this is not an excuse right here, she was already treating me bad up to the point, being toxic and disrespectful. I just think when that had happened, they gave her an excuse to say, oh, I want a divorce. Okay. Because she had already met somebody else anyway, which I had to put two and two together. That being said, does my past matter? Yes, it does, depending on what the person wants. Okay. You know, I would say if I was ever to get in a desperate situation, not sure what I would do, then yeah. If you're not going to either like help me or either stop spending or stop doing certain things to put me more under the water that I might do something drastic, then yeah, you probably shouldn't mess with me then. Okay. So I think when you're considering having people in your life, you have to look at maybe their past, what they've done, what they have shown you, and if it coincides with your life and how it might affect you. And then if you want, you can let their past matter. So I think everybody should have that right, and we shouldn't be shamed into on an extreme level of the past doesn't matter. And we also shouldn't be on the level that any little thing that somebody did that you probably did is the thing to totally cut the person off. Let's you use our heads and everybody think for yourselves out there. Give me a like and subscribe and have a good night.
I want to be passed around so bad, but my boyfriend just wants a monogamous relationship. It's 2024. Expecting to be with one person for your entire life is like unreasonable. I'm a young 18-year-old Latina. I'm trying to get my face blasted by multiple men. Like, I haven't even had a quickie in a bathroom stall. I have so much to live for. And you're telling me that I have to stay with this one guy because I love him so much. But there's literally guys out there with 13-inch meats waiting to destroy me. It would just be so unfortunate if I were to go my whole entire life without getting piped by at least 100 different people just to see who I like the most.